Sure. Thanks, Eric. First of all, thanks for providing this opportunity and thanks for inviting me. So, yeah, my name is Karamjit Singh, and as you can call me Karam. So, I've been a brief introduction from me would be that I'm currently working as a director in a unit called AI Garage in Mastercard. So, my roles and responsibilities are including developing and managing the products which are using the AI technology. Uh, I have done masters in computer application, and then my whole career, fortunately, was in the area of machine learning and AI. That's where I started my journey. The first, I would say, the first phase of my career was more focused on the research part of artificial intelligence, and now for last 5 years or so, I am focusing more on the product side of building the products using AI technology. Mentioned in my introduction, so my career, you can say, that was is being into the two parts. One, I spent a lot of time into the core research in artificial intelligence, where I get to do work on lot on the algorithmic side, publish papers, patents. And then the second half of my career till now is more focused on the application part of AI, building the product. And what I realize is that even today there is a huge gap between the research side of the world and there is a product side of the world. And my talk will be more about how an industry can bridge the gap, how research and industry can come together to bridge the gap, what kind of skill sets, what kind of technologies we need to bridge that gap, so that whatever is being developed on the research world and then what we want to eventually build as a product to use that AI research, that can work seamlessly. And personally, I believe that there is a gap to be addressed. Well, I would say it's evolving process. If you ask me, like 2-3 years back, the kind of adoption AI had in industries was very limited. But now you see that the AI has being adopted, or at least being recognized by every industry and every company wants to build or wants to invest in AI. And I think that's where now the real challenge starts. I think the first stage has been passed, where industry as a companies recognize that AI is the future, and it's definitely needed, it has a potential. Now, since the companies are investing in it, they want to see the future, they want to see what products, what offerings AI can have from their company. The gap is now being at least recognized and being addressed. So I would say still there, and it's still needed to be addressed. But yes, we are definitely moving towards it. Well, I think, if first of all, there has to be, the product side of people definitely needs to be a little bit more aware on what AI can do, what is the potential of it, high level, what high level algorithms and models and the potentials of AI. Second, each company needs to invest in right infrastructure, because AI, as you know, sounds very cool word, but and to build the actual models and all on actual data, because most enterprise have major data in terms of data size, and the lot of challenges how their current infrastructure, how their current data pipeline is built,
Mm-hmm.
how it can be adopted, how AI can be feed into it. Because I would say the major challenge is that the traditional way, the way their data is stored, how a data pipeline can be built. So there's a lot of infra needs to be built. That knowledge on the company side or the product side needs to be clear that what needs to be done to actually make sure that the models are deployed. Because if I tell you that right now, the companies and the industries are definitely investing a lot in AI. They are building the model, but what is lacking is that knowledge, that what is there to take the model and actually deploy it, and that needs to be definitely built. So there is a huge gap. You would see that number of models being built and versus number of models being deployed, that number is like significant different. Well, that's an interesting question. First of all, thanks for that. Thanks for that. And I would say I would like to thanks my managers and my leadership to recognize me and identify that I can be promoted in such short span. In terms of the contribution, I would talk about one particular product which I was leading that got successfully launched, and I think that really helped to me moving to the next level. So as Mastercard is continuously adopting AI and bringing more and more product out of Mastercard which can help the ecosystem of payment networks. So we recently launched a product called Account Intelligence, which is basically the fraud and risk scores for issuers at an account level. When I say account, that is a card holder level. So very simple example, that you have a card and we are giving the score to issuers, the banks, that how likely this card is likely to experience a fraud transaction in next 3 months. So it's more about proactively preventing the fraud and risk on the cards, and that is the product which we have in the market globally right now, and I was the technically product owner of that product. So yeah, I can say that definitely helped me achieve and move to the next level. I think that would be achievement. And in terms of what my past experience, how it helps me to be at a level right now or to achieve that successes, I would say it's a cumulative process. Every experience I had over the last 10 11 years of my career, first under focusing more on the algorithmic part, that really gives me a clarity about what algorithms, what models to be used on what kind of data, and also gives me a clarity on the feasibility part of it. Because often when we do study on the machine learning and AI, that doesn't give you the clarity on the parts like what models do on which data, and also if you gain experience of like given the circumstances of your company, given the circumstances and challenges you have in terms of the data you are processing, the infrastructure you have, you need to take the right call. And I think everything which I learned in my past experiences when I deployed various models in the various domains, that definitely helped me to take the right calls at the right time. And yeah, now we are at a right position. I would say thanks again to my leadership, and thank you God for obviously pushing me in the right direction, I would say. Yeah, so I would say it's definitely evolving. It's definitely moving in a right direction. It's definitely moving in at a very good pace. Like I joined Mastercard 3.5 years back in a unit AI garage, which obviously Mastercard has a vision to invest in AI. That unit is mainly focusing on building AI products, AI driven products. So that's the right intention. That tells something about the vision the company has. And then over the years, we definitely identified the challenges. I think identifying the challenges was the first thing, and now then solving challenges one at a time, in both in terms of data, in terms of infra, in terms of setup, and then making sure. I think the one thing which for personally for me and also everyone who is in Mastercard at least building the products, and is that how do we get. So building the model is definitely, I would say, the easiest part. Like if anyone have a good AI skills, give them the data, give them the business knowledge, they will give you the good model. It definitely comes naturally from that kind of evolution we already have. We have pre-trained models, we have such good models. You pick up anything from the stack, you have a basic enough knowledge to use how to use the data, you'll get the model. But I think the real thing which we are trying to do is that how to get that model, make sure that there is a pipeline, seamless pipeline to that actually model gets deployed, and then the product is out in the market. And I give you that example that we are already crossed that stage. Now the products are starting going out in the market, like the product we launched last year, and there are a lot of products in the pipeline. So yes, definitely I think it's moving in the right direction, especially for the payment networks like Mastercard. Now in terms of banking, I would still say that we are in more of an adoption stage. That what AI can offer, I think people understands it, but how banks can adopt it, how they can make a real use of it, they can take an action out of it. That is something, it's a learning process. Like it's, I think we are in that phase where when the product is there, like personally, if there is the product we have, we often face challenges explaining to the customers that how they can leverage it best. Because right now, like not all, but definitely many banks are still at a stage where they are using the traditional systems, but not the outputs like which AI models give them, and then they don't have a process to take an action on it. I think that is something which is definitely needs to be happen, and that will definitely revolutionize the banking sector and the fintech sector when there is a complete adoption and the complete knowledge that okay, what AI can do, and then how AI can be leveraged, and then actually having the process in the banks to use what is being offered. Can actually say that it is evolving, but at the same time in many different, so AI and ML is actually, you can divide in different verticals. So if you talk to me about AI and ML in images and videos, like we call it vision domain, it is super evolved. Like you have the pre-trained models for object detection, you pick up the model, you use on your data, it's done. Then similarly the NLP, natural language space, has evolved significantly last couple of 2-3 years, when especially when the transformers were introduced. Now you heard of BERT and other models. You pick up the model from the shelf and it solves like a 10 different tasks for you. So it has already definitely evolved in such a state that you take a model, you build a software engineering product around it, and then you deploy it. But then there are areas like you take that fintech or payment industry, which has a transactional data. Now the transactional data is traditionally being attacked by the traditional machine learning, but there is no significant evolution happen. Like the deep learning, there is no penetration of deep learning in the structured data when there is a rows and column. But now it is started happening. We are investing a lot, something called graph neural networks, where you can see that what we have is a transactional data, which could be as rows and columns, but it has a structure or a relationship. For example, a card holder transacting at a particular merchant. So card holder and a merchant are nodes, and the edge is the transaction between them. So it's a graph between them. So we are leveraging that deep learning technologies now in Mastercard to really solve that challenges. To use that cutting edge technology which were not able to penetrate right now in the transaction world, to be honest. Well, a lot is going on, to be honest. Like I just gave you an example that traditionally how the fintech or the transactional data being used, it's not like the machine learning was not there for the transactional data payment industry. It was there for a long time. Like banks were using the traditional models, so it's be it logistic regressions models or statistical models, but they were more using the traditional machine learning. But there was no penetration of the deep learning because deep learning was more has a penetration in the image and the text data. But now the GNNs, graph neural networks, definitely has a lot of potential to bring out the relationship or explore the relationships between the transactions, and uh, can definitely give us a, the solutions which were never seen before. Now
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, the payment industry is definitely evolving with the world. You can see there is a lot talk on the metaverse and self-driving cars and all. As this world evolves, the payments will also evolve. uh, you
Right.
know you can easily see that in future, that you and me are in the metaverse, and we
Mm-hmm.
are transacting through using a Mastercard in that virtual world and buying something. So
Awesome.
yeah, I think that there's a lot of innovations are there in future for the fintech industry.